We are at a Motel 6 near Albany, New York, because tomorrow we are catching the Cruise Express down to Manhattan to get us at the Manhattan Cruise Terminal, and we are going to Bermuda. So, yeah, so this is kind of a rustic room. But that's okay because we're only going to be here for 14 hours. And after that, we will be traveling the high seas. So, very excited. And I will let you know what we get up to. So here we are approaching the Manhattan Cruise Terminal on our bus. It was a nice ride down. It was very quick. We're on the Carnival Venezia, which has an Italian theme to it, which you'll see as we go on. We were docked at Pier 88, and then we kind of backed out into the Hudson River, and we had such a stunning view of the New York City skyline as we cruised down to get into the ocean. It was a little hazy at first, and then it cleared up, and then, we had bits and pieces of rain, but I really love the gray clouds behind the skyscrapers, and then you just hit a flash of sun off the Freedom Tower. It was so amazing. And there, of course, was the Staten Island ferry. We saw two of those running. Lots of boats in the water. And then on the other side, we zipped over to the other side to see the Statue of Liberty. So it was really cool to see the Statue of Liberty from the water. There's so much history there. And our first night's dinner and our first night's sunset. So this is like the atrium area, and you can see some of that Italian theme. And the next morning we had a beautiful day, a beautiful dinner, and here is some entertainment. The little animals they make are so cute. And there's the map of us, where our boat is. We're coming into Bermuda. It was such a quick sail. The water is stunning. And that's my first impression, just seeing it. We disembarked at the Royal Navy dockyard. There was a Norwegian ship there as well. And as we were walking to explore the port, there was a little restaurant, and these fellas were out prepping the fresh fish that they were serving there. That was a really neat sight to see. And, it's a British territory, so they have the little red phone booths. The port has these little trams that take the people from the boats around the little port town. And interestingly, Bermuda has a feral chicken problem. So there were chickens in this little park in the port, and we saw them again when we were at the beach the next day. That's the Clock Tower Mall, and this little gnome was there, and obviously if the cruise ships are there, smaller boats are using the marina as well. It was just so beautiful. The temperature was nice. Oh my gosh. And then we went back to the ship to have supper, which was delicious. And the next morning we saw this little pink catamaran, and then we headed to Horseshoe Bay Beach. We are at Horseshoe Beach, Bermuda. I'm looking for a spot to land. We think there's some caves here to explore, and of course we're gonna try the water. I've never in my life seen water this color. It was so pretty. We went to the far left-hand side of the beach and we found a nice shady area to hang out. Here I am in the water. It is so clear. It is so beautiful here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is salty. Holy cow. After being in the water a while, we found a little trail and we walked through the trail. Here's just one that we were calling a cave. So beautiful. So we walked this trail and we saw some chickens on the trail and just little areas to get onto the beach that the locals use. And again, it was the most stunning thing I think I've ever seen. This was quite a trip. It was my partner's very first time on a cruise, so it was really cool to share that experience with him. We were up on deck when the Norwegian ship pulled out, and so we watched that, and people were waving, and so, you know, our ship was waving back. It was kind of neat. And then just shortly after that, it was going to be our time to leave, so we went over to the other side, got another shot of the port and everything. As you can see, it's just, I wish we had had more than 24 hours in Bermuda. We were there 4 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then all of a sudden we were leaving again. Here we are pushing back from the dock, and the folks down on the quay there were waving to us and shouting, "Good luck, good sailing, good trip." There were only 2 of them that worked there at the time we were leaving. But look at this water. And an interesting fact about Bermuda we learned is that it's 20 times more expensive to live in Bermuda than it is to live in Hawaii. You're allowed to have 1 car per household, and you can drive a moped, but everything is imported there. So the price of gasoline, milk was $16 a gallon. It was incredible. And as much as I would like to live in Bermuda because it's gorgeous, I don't think I could afford to live there. But look at this water. Oh my gosh. I just can't get over it. So this was a 5-day experience. We went with my partner's nephew and his wife, her mother and stepfather, my partner's mother and sister. So there were 8 of us total. It was such a unique family experience to have. And there were a few squalls. There were some times when the boat was rocking and some people weren't feeling well, but we had brought some Dramamine with us, so we were fine. And again, the little things they make out of towels. So I hope you enjoyed my trip to Bermuda. I will see you again soon.